Today I'm going to show you how to use Google's ReCAPTCHA tool to protect data submission from spammers and hackers. I'll show you how to use ReCAPTCHA with Corvid to protect data sent from a custom input from a data collection. What's up guys, thanks for tuning in with your boy Nino, and I got a tutorial for you guys today, and that is on Wix Google ReCAPTCHA, and I'm going to be using that in a custom input form, and then I'm going to create that, as well as I'm going to create just this whole new website. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to speed right through this, but I'm just going to do this because I'm starting from scratch. I want to start from scratch and I just felt like doing it. So listen to this cool music while I style up this website. Alright, so we're ready to start, and actually I don't know why this drop down is not actually showing up red, but that is not for me to worry about right now. I can't change the placeholder color, so we're just gonna have to do with purple right now. Alright, so we're gonna do that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get started with the backend. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the backend and create a capture module. Okay, and we're going to do that as a new web module. All right, so we're going to name this captcha module. Okay, and then we're going to press enter, and as soon as that starts up, we want to just get rid of all of this here. You don't actually need that. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to actually import some data. So we're going to import Wix data, and also we're going to import Wix CAPTCHA back in. Okay, so now that we got Wix CAPTCHA back in, what we're going to do now here is we're going to export a function. So let's go ahead and move this down. Alright, so we're going to export a statement, which is a function, and we're going to get rid of that actually, and we're going to say process submission request. Okay, so that we're going to name this process submission request so that we don't get confused with any other functions out there. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say request, which will be the request, and it will have the request token and all that stuff in it. So we're going to actually create an error response to be null. All right, it's just going to be a null list. All right, so once we got that here, what we're going to do here is we're going to return, okay, Wix CAPTCHA backend dot authorized, authorize, and we're going to do requests. All right, then we're going to do a dot then. Once we get the dot then, we're going to add these parentheses here and the equals and arrow with the curly brackets, and then we're going to enter. So what we're going to do is we're going to return if that request comes back true. Okay, so it will only go through this then if the request actually goes through and there is no error. But if there is an error, we're going to create a catch error right after this dot then. But right now we're going to return if that went through the right way. We're going to return Wix data dot insert into our collection name, okay, with that item, which I haven't actually created yet, but we're going to create sooner than later. But we're just going to keep that in mind to have the collection name here and then the item that we're going to be putting in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say dot catch. Okay, so we want to catch any type of error that comes through. So error, and we're going to do this right here, and we're going to put into our error response dot status. So we're already creating the status, and we're going to create it as an error. Okay, and then after that we're going to do error response dot type, which this will create the type field for it, and it's going to be an insert error. Okay, once we finish that, we're going to go to error response again, and we're going to put that message there. Okay, so we're going to put a message there stating that it was an error of the database collection. That failed. And then we're going to put in that error type, and we're going to do this with the curly brackets, and we're going to put that error right there. Okay, the one that we just defined up here at the error right here. Okay, once we finish that, we'll just go ahead and do the semicolon, and then we're going to throw this back out as an error response. All right, boom. So we got actually the first part of it already down. Now remember, I said that I'm going to add the actual catch error here so that we will actually know what had happened to our token. Okay, so this will be basically our token that's going to go inside of here. And actually I'm going to go ahead and just say dot token so that it will be more specific on like what to get and what to put into the Wix ReCAPTCHA authorized backend. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do the same type of method that we did here, which I'm just going to do this. I'm going to copy and paste. Okay, so hold on, I gotta really capture everything, so let's do this. All right, and then we'll just paste right here. Okay, so now we're going to say that this first, what we're going to do here is we're going to throw an error if the error type comes back as an insertion error. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to error dot type, and if it equals our insert error, then we're going to throw that back out as that error so that we won't have anything to mess with right there. If not, then it's going to go straight on to this other statement here, which let me go ahead and reformat everything. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to just change this right here to authorization error. Okay, all right, so there we go. And then we're going to say here, in here we're going to say that the ReCAPTCHA authorization failed. So I could have just kept that failed there, but yeah, you get the gist. All right, and then we're going to throw that error response back out. So right now I have an error right here with the data collection name, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a basic simple data collection. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create an add new. We're going to start creating from scratch, and we're going to say event submissions. Okay, we're going to make this site content. Okay, so boom, we have that. Now what we want to do here is we want to actually change this title to email. So we're going to say that this is email, and we're going to update that. All right, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to say name, and then we're going to create business type. All right, once we have those 3 items here, we should be ready to go with linking up everything on our home page. All right, so we got that linked up here. All we have to do is go back to our ReCAPTCHA module. All right, and we're going to just replace that name with event submissions. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to replace that item with the request.form. Okay, and this will make sense once we get down the road, but I forgot to go ahead and put this in quotations, which then it will read the collection name. All right, so we're going to do request.form here, and then everything should be good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and head on over to our home page. Now here we're going to add some content here, and we're going to add content element, which is a data set. All right, and we're going to connect that to our data set here. So let's go ahead and connect that. It's going to be write only, and we should be good. All right, so once we have that write only, now what we want to do here is we want to go ahead and start writing some code down here. We don't need to connect anything. We already have our information already there, since I just did this blank template. So I'm gonna save this just real quick so that I know that it's saved for us. So what we want to do here is we want to actually cater towards the CAPTCHA real quick. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna actually put CAPTCHA timeout. All right, just so that if it times out, we can actually disable that button, so that then any of our hackers or spammers can't actually submit anything based upon if it timed out. All right, so we're gonna say on timeout, and that's gonna be our event handler. And what we're gonna put here is we're going to disable that submission button. So we're gonna say disable. All right, once we finish that, semicolon. All right, then what we're gonna do next is we're gonna look at the CAPTCHA again, and if it actually gives us an error, we're gonna actually put that error in our text box right here, our submission status. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say that this is status. All right, just so that it's very clear and it's not just text. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say on error, and then our handler, which did it so gracefully, but I didn't want it to do that just yet. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna put that there. We're gonna bring this sucker back up like that, and then we're gonna go down. All right, so now we want to show error. Okay, and this will be our function that actually pulls from our backend CAPTCHA module. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say show error, and don't forget to put error up here because we need that. All right, so that will come later. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to reset that CAPTCHA, because we don't want that to be the same CAPTCHA so we're gonna reset it. And then what we want to do here is we want to disable the button just to make sure that it's disabled. All right, so the submission button will be disabled just for a clear gratification. All right, and then we're going to actually create this in a minute, but I just wanted to put that out there right now. All right, and then we're going to sit here and put in another CAPTCHA, and we're going to do an on verified. So once it's verified, we want this to enable that button. All right. So submit dot enable. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go up to our submit button and we're going to say on click. All right, come on, work with me. All right, so we're going to do an on click event for this special button. All right, and then what we're going to do here, before I get to show error, what I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and hide the submission status box, because we already know that it's going to be shown if something else happens. Like if it gets an error for the CAPTCHA, we're going to hide that bad boy, because then we want to actually display the information again if there is a error also, or if it's not an error, then it won't show. So what we're going to do here is we're going to automatically hide that status. All right, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to do a let expression, and we're going to say let submission request equal the brackets. All right, we need the brackets, but we're going to give it a token, which is going to come from our CAPTCHA. All right, so we're going to say token, and that's going to give us a string. We also want to put in here the form. All right, so we want to insert this form. So we're going to say name, since that's the way that we have it in our database, and we're going to set that to, let's see, we're going to set that to name, and we're going to say dot value. Then we're going to do inside there, we're going to say email, which is actually title, so we're going to just name it title for now, and then we're going to say email, because that was our first column. If you don't recall, I will show you in a few. All right, so we're going to get the value of that, and then also we need the business type, so we're going to say business type, and we're going to get that business type drop down value. All right, so we're almost there. We're almost done. All right, now we just have to go ahead through that whole process after we put that into our submission request bracket. What we're gonna do here is, first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually call that. So in order to call that, we need to go back to our CAPTCHA module, and it will show us how we can actually call that. So this is what we'll have right here, and this is our template. But instead of using multiply right here, we're going to use process submission request. So we're going to go here. I'm going to press Control C or Command C on Mac, and I'm going to go ahead and Control V, Command V right there. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this again, Control C. All right, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to put that sucker right up here. All right, so once we have that, this will be our import for the form submission backend function, which we have right here. All right, so now what we can do is we can call that function. We can call that function in the backend. All right, so we're going to say process submission request, and we're going to put that curly bracket information into our function that actually leads to the backend. Then we're going to do a dot then. All right, and then we're going to get that item with whatever that item is. We're going to get it, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to display some information here. So what we'll do is, if everything is in order and the item is submitted, we're going to refresh the applications counter that we have up here, that I have up here set up right here, saying how many people have signed up. We're going to refresh the applications counter so that we can show the success message and reset the CAPTCHA after that. All right, so once that is completed, what we're going to do here is we're going to disable the button because we already submitted it. So we're going to disable the button, sign up, the sign up button, and we're going to say disable. And then for our text up here, we're going to actually change this to let's see, people sign up. I guess that's pretty cute. All right, people sign up. That's what I created it as, but you get the gist. You guys can put in your own words, your own terms if you would like. All right, so people sign up dot, and then we're gonna go into the HTML. All right, if you don't know that much about HTML and how to actually create this HTML, then I highly suggest that you go over to Corporate Resources here and then go to Documentation or API Reference. Okay, if you go to API Reference, it actually gives you more of a cheat sheet for you so that you can actually know what to do with this HTML. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this HTML to span the style. Okay, and we're going to equal that to be, the color is going to be green, and let's see, the font size, sorry about that, the font size will be, let's see, I'll just give it 1.5 EM. All right, and then semicolon, we're going to say text align is going to be centered. Okay, so text align is going to be centered, but I'm going to actually do that outside of this so that we can actually call the center. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say center, and then bring that back like that, and then put that here. Then we're going to say, let's see, so this is going to be the submission that we're going to put down here as the text. So not people sign up, sorry about that guys, is going to be our status. So for our status here, big words, all right, here we go. So for our status here, what we're going to say in this status, which I gotta actually end the span first just so that I don't forget about that. All right, so what we're going to do here inside the span, the text message is going to be application or we'll say, I think, let's get fancy with this, guys. We're gonna say event application submitted successfully, and exclamation mark, so that they're excited about it. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and do a semicolon here, and then after we actually get that status formatted the correct way, we're going to go ahead and show it. So we're going to show that status here, and we're going to say show.show. All right, semicolon. Now we're going to actually reset that data set. All right, so I recently did it as write only, but I'm actually going to just switch it around so that I can just use it, use this form right here, this form submission, as the insert instead of actually using it on the home page. Okay, so I'm not actually going to use it on the home page. I'm going to use it in the back end. So we're going to actually submit that form through the back end. So I don't actually need that to be write only. I need that to be read only, so that we can read it to show those number of signups that we have for this event. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say data.refresh. Okay, and then we're going to do a dot then after that, and we're going to go ahead, and I will show you guys this later, but we're going to put in our function here, which is going to be called count and display num. Okay, so we're going to create count and display num. So that's going to be basically counting and displaying this data set here. All right, we're going to use this data set in order to put the number of users that have it signed up for this event. So now that we finished that, we're going to go ahead and reset the CAPTCHA just to be sure that the CAPTCHA is resetted for the next go around, or for the next person. All right, or the next submission, excuse me. And then after that, we're going to have a catch error just to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And if it does go wrong, we're going to actually see the message pop up here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say that the CAPTCHA is resetted because we don't want them to take advantage of the actual CAPTCHA itself then. And then we're going to actually show the error. Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. And I'll show you that function shortly. All right, so that once we get that done here, what we'll do here is we're gonna move down to the bottom, create some space, and then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go to dataset 1 here, and we're gonna actually do on ready. So that means basically when this dataset is ready, after the website has loaded, the dataset will actually load simultaneously, and actually gonna give us the count of the number of people that have already signed up for the event. Now I'm gonna get a little bit fancier than usual because I think that this is like my second tutorial that I actually did with using Corvid. So yeah, I'm just going to show you my skills a little bit. All right, so once that data set is ready, we're going to go ahead and count and display full name, the number. All right, count and display num, and we're going to create that function right below it. So we're going to say function count and display num. All right, and we don't need a parameter for this, so we're just going to head and cut that out. So upon the data set being ready, we're going to let num equal, and this will be actually the number of users that we have up here. So it's just going to be num, and we're going to set that to dataset1 dot get total count. All right, and then after we do that, we're going to then go ahead and include that in our text up here. So this right here is the people sign up text box, and what we're going to do for people sign up is we're going to say dot text, and we're going to actually put that number inside of here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and get these curly quotes. All right, and then we're going to insert that by doing just this, which is num. And then after that, we're going to say people have already, just like you see up there on the screen, we're going to repeat that down here. All right, and then don't forget the exclamation point. All right, so now that we have our count and display num figured out, what I want to actually do here is I want to do an if-else statement just to make sure that if it's somebody's like first time and like they're the first user to actually sign up for an event, then we want it to display something totally different than just that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say num is greater than is less than 0, then we're going to change this text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control X just to cut that and paste it, Control V here in the else, and then I'm going to do a Control V as well here, and then I'm going to say that I'm going to say you are the first person to sign up for our event. All right, so that is our if then if then else statement. Okay, so I got that down. Now we want to go to our error. Okay, this is where our error is going to come in. We're going to create this function so that we can actually parse through the error message and actually put some information down that's going to be very important for our user to see, all right, and comprehend. So we're going to make this show error so all of that stuff up top can go away, which hopefully it did. Yay, it did. Okay, so now we don't have the red squiggly line underneath our show error because we had created that function here. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to be passing in error so that we can just be transparent and keep that same thing going inside of our function. So we're going to let error message actually equal to nothing, to null. Make sure that you guys just put quotations here and not actually put null, because then it'll mess up some things that you have going on in here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do an if-else statement. All right, and we're going to say if the error dot type is equal to our authorization error, then what we're going to do here is we're going to display this error message. So we're going to say error message is going to be equal to, let's see, let's just make it in terms of like how people would really understand what's going on with the database. So we're going to just say like something went wrong with the CAPTCHA authorization process. Okay, and then we're gonna say like please try again, and that's when it's going to reset the CAPTCHA and they can actually try again. All right, so we got that in place. We're gonna put a period there. All right, and then else, well, we're not actually gonna do an else for that because else is gonna show nothing really. So we'll just say another if statement. If that if statement doesn't work, we're gonna go ahead and look at our next error type, which that will be error.type that is equal to our insert error. Okay, once we have that, we're gonna actually do the same thing up here, but we're gonna just change the wording a little bit just to match our error type. Okay, so something went wrong with the submission process. I'm gonna just say that. All right, and then please try again. Okay, and then once we have that error message, we want to display that error message to our status. So we're gonna say status.html that equals our span style that equals, let's bring that back, let's say equals the color red. Okay, the font size is going to be, let's see, I want it to be 1.5 EM as well. So font size is going to be, whoa, that's weird. Okay, so the font size is going to be 1.5 EM, and then text align is going to be centered. And then once we finish that, we're going to actually put that error message here. And let's see, error message, that's going to be our string that's going to be put there, and curly brackets, and then last but not least, I have to finish it out with span. All right, end of span. All right, now I want to show it. So I'll just go to status dot show, and that will display our error message. Okay, now I think that's about it that we have right now for the whole process. This actually should work since we have our token actually moving in to our backend module, and then it will be inserted into event submissions if that token comes back true and is verified. Okay, so now I think it is time to test it out. So we're definitely going to test that out. There's no errors here. I don't see no debugging errors here, so that's good. All right, and I think that everything else is correct. Did I change the settings to write only? I mean to read only? Yes. All right. So boom, we're gonna save this just to make sure that we save our process, and then we're gonna go ahead and preview. All right, let's cross our fingers, guys. All right, so full name, I'm going to say creatively Nino, and then I'm going to say Nino at nino.com. And what's my business? Let's see. I'll be an agency. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say I'm not a robot, and then boom, our reCAPTCHA actually worked. It actually changed our RSVP to enabled status, and now we're going to go ahead and submit it. So boom, it actually got submitted. Nothing shows up here, and we're good. So now we have 1 people have already signed up for our event. All right, so it actually works. So now if you guys want to like on submission when it actually gets submitted, and we'll do like a after event after it's been inserted, we can actually get rid of this information here. But as for now, I'm just going to keep it like this. You guys can actually code it up the way that you want. But yeah, so that's how this works here, and that was a good success. Now I'm gonna just get a little bit fancy with it and actually see if 2 comes out. Yay, we got 2. All right, so we got 2 people that submitted information. So we're gonna do like freelance developer, and we're just gonna make that Nino, and then we're gonna say that this is creatively Nino at nino.com. Woo. And then I'm not a robot, make sure that's true. Okay, it is valid, and then we'll submit it. Now we have 3 people that have submitted the event. So happy holidays to you guys. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about this tutorial, and definitely give this a thumbs up if you liked it. I'll talk to you guys later. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay guys, ciao.